It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's sourdough. Hey, it's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Breaking Bread with Tom Papa. I am Tom Papa. Happy day to you. Happy summer to you. Oh, are you feeling like I'm feeling? Like summer, you can all of a sudden sense that we're kind of we're coming into the last lap in a way. A little bit. But I say no. I say hang on. We've got a lot of great tomatoes popping, blueberries. Everywhere I go, people are talking about zucchini, how you're going to cook zucchini. Look, I know zucchini grows like wild, but it's not my favorite. Is it your favorite? Not really. I mean, you really got to jazz it up a lot. But it means that the summer is still in full swing. And I'm still on my big hot dog race. I've been pounding down hot dogs. I'm not giving up, and it's still summertime is what I'm trying to say. So don't you give up either, for crying out loud. I'm happy to be home. I was out for a while. As you know, I was at the Jersey Shore eating a lot of Taylor ham and crumb cakes. And I got home and was able to bake some bread. I have to say, and I know I don't care if I know I talk about this a lot, but to come back off the road and be mixing some dough and creating some new bread and passing it off to a couple of friends just in the last couple days that I've been home. I know for a fact that baking all this stuff is going to be a lifelong pursuit because it now is it's just a part of me. Like, I know now that when I am done with this great interview with Leanne Morgan today, that I've got 2 loaves that are waiting to be baked before I go off and do my shows in Brea, California. It's just a part of the everyday. It's part of the rhythm. It's something I completely enjoy. And yeah, it's just, it's no longer a thing that I toy around with, like maybe I'll do this. I just kind of do it. It makes me so happy. You know what else makes me happy? Leanne Morgan. We have a great show for you today, and I'd like to thank our sponsor, Helix Sleep. How long have you had your mattress? How has your sleep improved? This is what the Helix people are asking of me because I own a Helix mattress. We've had it about a year now, and our sleep has totally improved. I get so happy when I, at the end of the day, roll downstairs and get into my bed. And look, I tour a lot. I stay in a lot of nice hotels. My bed with a Helix sleep mattress is the most comfortable mattress that I sleep on. That's it. Helix Sleep is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. They're offering up to $200 off mattresses and 2 free pillows for our listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/papa, helixsleep.com/PAPA. With Helix, better sleep starts now. More about my experience a little later in the show. Leanne Morgan is hilarious. You know, she was been on our program before, and I wanted to bring her back quickly because I just love her. She's so funny. Her act is so controlled and smooth and truthful. There's no mistake why Leanne Morgan is at once under the radar and blowing up at the same time. She has this great panty tour out right now. She is touring all over the country. She's in the middle of, I think it's a 100-city tour that she is involved in right now. She's just killing it, playing all of these great theaters. You really got to go check her out live. And you'll know, I mean, if you hopefully you listened to the first time she was on because she's so damn funny. She's just naturally funny. The Big Panty Tour. You can go to leannemorgan.com and look up all of her dates. She is everywhere. I was lucky enough to have her spend a little time with me before her show in Davenport, Iowa. By the time this comes out, that will be over. But she's everywhere. She's going to Little Rock. She's going to Alabama, Huntsville, Bowling Green. She's got this. She's just amazing. You're really going to love her. And let's plug this one at the end of the year, December 8th at the Encore Theater at the Wynn in Las Vegas, which I play, and is such a great place to go. And she is super, super funny. I love Leanne Morgan. I can't wait to share this conversation. We had a lot of laughs. So let's just jump right in. Leanne Morgan, enjoy. Oh, it's so nice to see you again.
So good to be with you, Tom. When I heard about this, I really and truly, my heart beat out of my body, and I felt like I was being invited to the prom. I really did. I'm so tickled with you. Oh,
likewise.
I'm your biggest fan.
I mean, let's be honest here. I don't think we're talking out of school when I say this, but you're one of the, I think you're the quickest return guest from when you were on and then coming back. And that is purely because, and I think everyone that listened to our episode was aware of this, that we really hit it off.
We did. I felt it. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I think I told you, if we had been in school together, we would have never gotten a thing done. We would have had a ball, and we might have even dated. But I don't know. I mean, I would have tried to date you.
I would have tried to date you too. Absolutely.
You would have?
And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying it's not too late. I mean, I know we both have created these gigantic families, and we have husbands and wives, but I would just say, let me just put it out there, there's still time.
Can you imagine me and you in assisted living and watching good television shows and eating good food? And I don't know, I mean, I would like to, in my 80s, smoke cigarettes again. I don't know, that may not be your thing, but if we ballroom danced and can you imagine how much fun we would have?
Oh, it'd be
if you
so
don't like
great.
cigarettes, I wouldn't smoke them. I don't smoke now, but
I don't like smoking cigarettes myself. I'm not opposed to it. I don't mind a cigar once in a while. I'm just not good at it. I would do it, but I love being around people who do smoke cigarettes.
You do?
Yeah,
Is there anybody left?
No. I just wander up to people like outside the supermarket and stand near them. Do you have anyone in your life?
Do you remember that bit that Cedric the Entertainer did about how no one's going to be able to smoke on Earth? Because he said it's so sad when you can see people like by a dumpster, shaking in the winter, smoking. He said they're going to finally just make them go to the moon or something to smoke.
I know.
Yeah, I smoked in the 80s for a little while. I waited tables, and I was at the University of Tennessee, and yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And there were so many people, I think, that were so cute that wanted to date me, but I smelled bad, and they didn't want to date me anymore. And I think, man, I lost a lot of opportunity. And then my husband said to my kids the other day, your mom smoked, and I hated it. And I go, you stalked me and loved me and bought my cigarettes. But anyway, I ended up.
He knew what he was doing. I know it's bad for you and all that, but I don't know. It still looks cool. Whenever I literally have never smoked. Like, I tried it once when I was a kid. I was walking down the street with my friends. We were like 10 years old, and there was a lit cigarette on the street, and I thought I was cool. I just picked it up and I took a drag of it, and it was so horrible, and I was coughing and just sick.
It is. It's hard.
And
it's hard and bad.
It is. One time I had to do it in a play when I was in college, and the character smoked, and I practiced. I tried to look like it, but man, I did not look. There's something about just not being able to hold it right and not inhaling it. It ruined the whole play.
Oh, me.
What will you smoke when we're in the nursing home? What will you smoke?
Marlboro Lights.
Okay.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, when I look back on that time, I was so lost, and I was trying to look like Madonna.
Oh,
And
nice.
I had roots, and I, blacked my eyes out, and I was, wanted to be difficult, and I would smoke, and and that's around the time I met my husband, who made straight A's, was getting an MBA, and did everything right. And
Right.
I don't know how he was attracted to me, but I was cute. I was
How are
cute,
you?
but
Of course, you were cute. Why were you attracted to him if he was such a straight and narrow guy?
I like security. I like
Hmm.
men that have got a 401k. And I know that sounds terrible, because young women would probably go, you can do it on your own. And I get that. And I'm tickled. But I wanted to have a bunch of babies. And I'm attracted to men, and I'm buttoned down, that look like they can do math, because I can't. And
Right.
that's really and truly, like, I've dated some long hairs, some
Hmm.
boys that were artists, and rode a
Hmm.
bicycle, and didn't own a bed.
Yeah.
They slept on a floor somewhere, and that was fun. But it wasn't. I thought, I can't have a bunch of kids with some ding dong that's riding a bicycle. We can't put a bunch of kids on a bike. So yeah, I'm attracted to security, and I think that my little daddy, who's still living, 81, works like a Trojan, and always,
Yeah.
I knew that whatever happened, we were going to be okay. And my husband's that way. Like, if
Right.
something goes down, he could go drive a truck. He's an
Yeah.
executive at a company, but he has no ego. He would go and do whatever he had to do to take care of a family. And when you're a
Yeah.
woman that has a bunch of kids,
Yeah. Of
that's
course.
attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Your dad still works. What does he do?
He's not working anymore, but we
Oh.
still have our farm. But my
Oh.
little
Okay.
daddy, let me tell y'all that my little daddy did, because I know you love food as much as I do, and we're beef people. So my little mom and daddy have their farm, but somebody else farms it now, because somebody leases it. Nobody actually farms their own land anymore. And then
Right.
my little mom and daddy had a meat processing plant. So they did everybody's beef and hogs, and we made this sausage that was out of this world, Tom.
Oh
And people,
man.
then they would smoke it in a smokehouse, um, and we did, people's bacon, hogs, all that.
Wow.
And then deer, which my little daddy never hunted a day in his life, but people would bring in their deer, and they processed it, and they stayed covered up and busy, and they put my sister and I through school doing that. And then my
Wow.
little daddy on the side, to have a pension, carried the mail, was a rural mail carrier, on
Whoa.
top of had a business and a farm.
Jeez. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I know. And he, to this day, my little mom will make over him and go, your daddy is so limber, he can put his foot up on that kitchen table. So my little daddy is still in really good shape, and
That's
goes up to his little
amazing.
building and piddles around. He piddles now, but
He's a peddler now.
he's a piddler. Hmm.
So when you were growing up around all of that processing and stuff, did it make you enjoy meat and those meals more, or did it turn you off for a bit?
It turned me off.
It did,
And
yeah.
I didn't, they opened that when I was in sixth grade. And then, because my dad worked as a butcher, our family had a grocery store in our little bitty town. And so he was doing all that, and he realized there was this need that people wanted that's a
Yeah.
huge, grass-fed beef, and get your own, where your food's coming from, get it
Yeah.
shipped to you and all that. Like Tim McGraw's doing those ropes, and Tiny has no body fat. He's eating all that butcher box. So back then, it's always been a big business, but what was I
Yeah.
saying? Oh, so he opened that when I was in sixth grade, and it turned me off, and it scared the living daylights out of me, because I remember a hog hanging in a freezer, and my sister locked me in with it. So the
Oh.
whole thing was just gross.
Oh.
And they would make us work in it, not much, because my sister and I weren't good help, and we were sissy, but I would wrap hamburger meat. You knew, like, my mom would find out what the family of four needed this much in a package. And so we would wrap, and it smelled bad to me, and it turned me
Hmm.
off. And so I probably was a vegetarian and didn't even realize it from sixth grade until I went to college. And then when I got away from it
Yeah.
and didn't smell it and didn't see it,
Yeah.
then I then I started eating pizza at night and had pepperoni on it, and started eating hamburgers and all that again.
Right. And slowly came back. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I try to eat a lot of protein because I'm in menopause time and I don't want to lose all my muscle mass. So I'm back to eating, some meat. And I know that's hard to say with LA people.
No,
right?
I know. My wife is in a similar position and but is a vegetarian or a pescatarian. She'll eat some fish now. But I was reading an article about how much protein you really need. And I was listening to a podcast about it, and I forget the math behind it, but it's a lot. And she's not getting close to that. And her thing is but she really, loves animals and doesn't want to do it. And my thinking always is, I know you love animals, but do you love them more than yourself? Like you could stop your anemia if you just had one steak, but she's so dialed in on it that I admire it. I admire that she's got these beliefs that she's sticking with. But personally, if it meant like me being stronger and healthier, I would just run out in the field and tackle it myself.
Well, I love an animal too. Tell her that I sleep with 2 beagles in my butt every night when I'm at home. And I love a dog, and I could never hunt or anything like that. But I had a podcast that was about menopause, and it was called Sweaty and Pissed, Menopause and More. And she talked about all that. Of course, plant-based diets become a big thing.
Yeah.
But when you're going through menopause, if she wants to feel good, she's got to get that protein in. Look at me like I'm a doctor. People think I am because I did that podcast. People ask me at my grocery store, like, what I do about my estrogen dominance, Leanne. And I'm a comedian, but I tell them.
Yeah.
But anyway, if she even got it in a protein powder, if she just drank it. So tell her to feel good.
Yeah.
And to have lean body mass and not lose that body mass.
Yeah.
Because, Tom, I've got to do a photo shoot at the end of September, and I could rather take a bullet. I mean, I just think, oh my Lord, because I had beautiful arms, and my little daddy would cut that meat and was tiny and skinny and about 6'3", and just be cut up like an athlete. And I took after him. My upper body, I can get really cut up and pretty, my arms, but my booty is like my mama, and it's fluffy and it never seems to tone. But when I eat protein and I exercise, my arms will be pretty. And I'm trying to get them pretty for this photo shoot. I could just die. But anyway.
End of September, that's end of September.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm shooting something in October 1st. And I was thinking the same thing. Like, I should probably dial it in, maybe drop 10 pounds before I go to it. And I literally was with my friend talking about this while I was eating a plate of buffalo wings and a Corona in the middle of a Thursday afternoon.
I know. I'm just like you. See, we would have so much fun in assisted living. But yeah, now at this point, I'm really just thinking, I hope I don't look inflamed. If I could just like drink water and not look puffy and inflamed. But they sent me, this photographer's a big deal, and he sent me pictures of people he had done, and I thought, oh, did they tell him who he's dealing with now?
You're beautiful. I wanted to ask you that. You look so great on stage, but like, I know, we travel a lot. We're touring all the time. You have a great tour. The Big Panty Tour is out now. You're touring all over. People should go see you live 100%. You're playing nonstop, harder than I am right now. But my biggest question, you're funny, you can tell jokes. I don't worry about that at all. What I do worry about is, how do you pack these beautiful, elegant dresses, gowns that you're performing in? I'm trying to get 2 T-shirts into my carry-on. How do you do it?
I am really trying to dial that in, and I do. Thank you. I do love a dress, and I got a lot of them that you can just wad up, really. But then, like, I've got 2 this weekend that I'll have to iron, and I push those down in there. But I'm only bringing 1 pair of shoes. This has been very difficult for me as a woman, because I was bringing all kinds of sandals and doing, and I also bring a lot of exercise clothes, thinking
Yeah,
I'm going to exercise.
I know.
But and I always bring them back home and then they're clean, and it makes me feel terrible about myself. But it has been hard, Tom, and I tell you, I'm worried about the airlines, all these cancellations and delays, and then people losing luggage. I'm like, I
Yeah.
could be losing my girdle. I got to have my girdle. I got to have my makeup. I've got to have my hormones, my estrogen bioidentical cream.
Yeah.
So I've been putting it on in a carry-on, and it's been hard. I've really scaled back.
Yeah.
When I'm flying, I've got on filthy clothes. Because I just wear the same thing over and over.
I do too. I know. I just wear the same exact thing. I'm like, I used to pack so much more, but then I realized no one's coming near me. So Helix Sleep is a premium mattress company brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. When they approached me, I think last year at some point, they said, take the Helix Sleep quiz and tell us what you think. So I took the Helix Sleep quiz. We've been on our mattress probably for, I don't know, 10 years, because for some reason, even though sleep is the most important thing, you don't think to change out your mattress. It seems like almost like it's moving or something. Because in the old days, to go get a mattress was a big pain in the butt. And you had to go to a mattress store and lay on this bed while these creepy salesmen like stared at you. And you just, I don't know, I guess it feels okay while I'm in my coat laying on a showroom floor mattress. So of course you didn't go and change it up. But Helix made it so easy. So you go online, you go to helixsleep.com, you take their sleep quiz, and all your sleep preferences, whether you like it hard, whether you like it soft, whether you like to be hot, whether you get hot at night, or you like something cooler. My dog is very excited about this too. Bella, not now. I'm talking with the Helix Sleep people. Put in it all. My wife sat down next to me. She put in her preferences, and they sent us a mattress that made both of us happy. And we do not have the same sleep preferences. But this mattress is so good. We've had it now for I think it's over a year. Close to a year. I'd say close to a year. It is the best mattress we have ever owned. American made, comes with 10 to 15 year warranty. And remember, you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. If you don't love it, and I know you will, if you don't, they'll pick it up and give you a full refund. Helix has been awarded the #1 mattress pick by GQ and Wired magazine. It's so nice when you have a sponsor that you really believe in. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders. Up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/papa. helixsleep.com/papa. Why am I having a brain fart of that today? Helix, better sleep starts now. Trust me, you need to sleep better. I obviously need to sleep better, and I'm happy to be home in my Helix Sleep. I could wear the same shirt for 3 days in a row. No, how close am I getting to anyone?
That's what I've decided. So I
Yeah.
have kind of a uniform, and I go home and I wash it and I put it right back on. I know how cold I'm going to get in the airport, and I wear the same black and white and the tennis shoes, that I know if I do get on a treadmill, which I did this morning, then I know I've got my tennis shoes. Yes. And then I've got my heels for tonight, and I've got a good minimizing bra that I carry every week, because I'll just say my breasts, Tom, have just gotten out of control. It's awful. That's another menopausal thing. They are huge. And I think all I see is like these huge basketball looking size. And I got to bring those down, because it just makes me look like a big old gal,
I don't know. I think
I didn't have them. Now I'm like, oh my Lord. I think I see myself in a reflection in a window, like, at a Home Depot or something. I think, bless her heart. And then I think, it's me. That was me.
Yeah, but you know what? You look amazing.
Thank you, Tom.
And the amount of work and dedication, like the amount of getting on the treadmill and the worrying about how you look and putting on the bra and not eating a thing after the show. And how much does that really change us? You know what I mean? Like, to us, it's a huge deal. But to the people in the audience, you're you. Like it doesn't. You would have to double in size for people to notice. You know
Oh,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, thank you. And see, that's me being vain. And through this whole, I'm 56 years old, about to turn 57. And I started doing comedy 22 years. And in my mind, which is crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought, oh, I'm going to make it in comedy, but I'm gonna be like the Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. I'm the new ingenue. Like I want to be Charlize Theron. And I
Mm-hmm.
keep thinking of myself that I'm this, what I was when I was 30.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that from me. And I've never acted in anything. Well, I have, and I'll never tell anybody what it was because I don't want anybody to watch it because I know I sucked. But I've had myself up on this thing that I'm supposed to
Uh-huh.
be this beauty. And I think that may be being from the South. We
Mm.
put a lot of emphasis, or our parents did back then, me
Uh-huh.
growing up in the 70s and 80s. It was, if I were I was on the basketball team, and mama would say, put on a tight panty, that'll hold you in while I'm playing basketball, you
Right.
know?
Who cares?
Yeah,
I know.
everything was like a pageant. Oh,
But you look at I mean, that's the one thing you have to remember too is that we aren't in modeling or leading man or woman acting. We are comedians. We're supposed to be funny. And
yes.
if there's something that looks a little even funnier, like, you look at Jim Gaffigan or Patton Oswalt. I mean, you know, the funnier looking you are, the better, the more
Yeah.
people like it because that's what we are. But
Yeah.
I have the same thing when I put on a suit and go perform. I think I'm Cary Grant, and
You are.
and 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 I had one reviewer say that I looked like I was an aluminum siding salesman, and I was like, Cary Grant doesn't sell aluminum siding.
That special you did where it has a vintage look to it, and I think you got on a velvet blazer,
Uh huh.
right?
Yeah.
Purple. I shared
Yeah.
some from the other day. I love that. And I thought it had a very Tom Jones vibe to me. And
Right.
I love Tom Jones. And honey, I've seen him in concert before the pandemic. And I mean, I had terrible unbiblical thoughts about that little man who is 80. I don't know. He used to spray his hair on. Now I don't even think he does that anymore. I mean, he was so cute. And
Yeah.
I've always thought that video, to me, that special had that vibe.
Yeah,
Yours.
I wanted it to be specifically like the time that I liked show business, which was like in the 70s and 80s. Like to me, that's what was on in television and film, and I thought, well, that's exciting. That's when people had fun in show business, and I wanted to kind of mimic that. But it's funny because I always go back and forth between should I look more like that or should I just throw on a jacket and go do it? You know what I mean? Like that's such a
Yeah,
distinct look. And again,
it is.
it came down to the packing. I was like, well, then I got to carry boots and I got to carry a velvet jacket. It's just too
But
much work.
it was very like, you remember when Johnny Cash and all these people would be on these variety shows,
Mm-hmm.
and Chris Christopherson was high as a kite and say something crazy.
Yeah.
I loved all that too. I
Yeah.
loved that era, and Dean Martin and they would come out, and you're right. That was a wonderful time.
It seemed free, It seemed like everything seems a little more calculated now. Like people making appearances on like the late night shows, they're like there to sell something. It's just there wasn't that. It's all kind of formulaic. This is why we have to maybe go on tour together because we could bring back like that kind of vibe. You come
Oh
out in your
my
gowns,
God.
I come out in my velvet jacket. You could smoke
Oh,
cigarettes on
we could
stage.
smoke cigarettes, and I can back comb my hair and have it back like like a Tammy Wynette kind of.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to think of Connie. Wait, who would have been the women that were,
Well,
did you
like
ever watch
Johnny Cash, and um, what's her name? Who did
June?
Who? What's that?
His wife June.
Yeah, in
Are you
June.
thinking of June?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, who was in show business around that time? Who would have been with the Rat Pack? Shirley MacLaine. You know, somebody that had a big back comb. You remember Joey Heatherton? What was her name? See, Tom, I'm in brain fog from menopause, and I can't. I used to know everybody in Hollywood, but when Jerry Lee Lewis would have the marathon, and she would come out in those in a tiny bikini bottom with fishnet hose and dance. Joey Heatherton, maybe
Right?
That whole thing.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So you worked the Win, right? I'm sure.
Yeah,
you worked the Win many times. That backstage, that green room, and those pictures of people, I just about passed out.
I know.
When I saw that.
It's this gorgeous backstage. You really feel like you're in show business, like you've made it. It's this gorgeous backstage at the Win, and it has all pictures of the Sinatra era, and it makes you feel like, oh, we're really doing something. And then you do your show, and you're like, all right, let's go out. And then you walk through the hallways, and everyone's in their flip flops and their shorts and their tank tops. You're like, oh, I guess I'm back to reality.
Are you doing the Win soon? I looked at your schedule. I'm trying to think of what you.
I don't think I have one on the books there now.
But you just did one, or something?
I just did one, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's a great spot.
It is. I'm going to be there during rodeo week.
Rodeo week.
Which I didn't know that. They said, do you want to go in December? And I thought, surely mamas are getting ready for little children to go to have Christmas.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know that, my audience is probably not all young moms, of course, but it's women having to do Christmas.
Right.
And they go, oh, you wouldn't even believe it. You will not believe how exciting it is for rodeo week, and who all comes, and all these big names come in, and they have all this stuff that's got to do with rodeos. So I don't know, but I'm giving it a whirl.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. That'll be great. I remember I opened for Jerry Seinfeld a couple of years in a row, like the day after Christmas. It was like December 26th. And I remember thinking, I've never left my family the day after Christmas. This is going to be bizarre. Why would even people come? And it was packed. The casinos, Vegas, people, you realize not everybody likes their family.
And people got away.
Yeah.
And went to Las Vegas.
Exactly.
It would never dawn on me to do that. The only time I've ever been away from my parents was my family went skiing with another family the day after Christmas, or the day of Christmas. We were gone, and I never felt right. I'll never do that again.
Yeah,
it did not feel right to me.
No, I know. Even the 26th was just like I didn't like the feeling either. It just didn't feel right. But it does exist. But then you let the single drug addict comedians take those. We'll come back out on New Year's.
Those dark, moody. Oh, I've gone to watch some of those dark, moody young people. And Tom, I've always wondered if I'd had the guts to try this when I was 18, if I had left high school and went to California or New York and tried to make it, I probably would have, I would have been going, and I would have been saying dark, twisted things. I probably would have. I mean, I didn't know anything else, I had a bunch of kids, and
I know, but I don't know. I did that. I was in New York, and I was going up after like Dave Attell and Nick DiPaolo and all of these guys who were like pretty dark and hilarious, but the different vibe. And I thought, well, I got to do that too. And I stood up there like the first couple of times at the Comedy Cellar, and I was swearing and like trying to talk about sex. And the audience, who didn't know me at all, were just like, no, you're pretend. They could sense that it wasn't me. And you know what I mean? Like, you just are what you are. And even though you're surrounded and want to be like the cool kids like that, you're just cool in a different way.
You're right, my darling. You're right. And there was one time when I first got started that I said a couple of cuss words. And I remember people going, oh, and it made me feel bad. And it wasn't true to me.
Right.
I was really quoting somebody else, but it did not feel right to me, and I've never done it since.
Yeah. No words. What about ass?
No, I have called my husband a bastard,
Okay.
and
Of course you have.
I have, and he was born on Valentine's Day, and I say, which is ironic because he's a bastard, but and I mean that in a sweet way, and he knows he is. Like, he knows he's difficult. So yeah, that's the only thing. I think the only thing, and now I have a bit about my baby child spell cussing, because I did not want anybody to cuss in our house, and
Right.
so everybody had to get around it by spell cussing. So I have projected that onto my children, because my little mom and daddy, I never heard them, either one of, I did hear my mama say SHIT one time. She was going through menopause. I look back on it, she was probably 49, 50. She had worked in this meat house all day, did all the accounting, did all, work manual labor, took care of the house, and she came home and the garbage smelled terrible and nobody taking it out. She said, "This smells like SHIT," and we were all like scared to death. And we got the garbage and took it out real quick. And I never heard anybody say anything else. And so
Yeah.
I've projected onto my children. I'm like, don't you dare say anything terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they get out in dark alleys and say terrible things. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's the thing. I really hardly swear in my everyday life. I'll say shit once in a while, or once in a while, but I really just don't. So why would I put it in my act? It just doesn't. It's not really true. But I know for a fact that my daughters swear up a storm when they're not around me. And my daughter, we were driving in the car, and we went to dinner, and she was with her friend in the back seat, and we're driving home, my wife and I, and we got her and her friend, and my daughter out of nowhere goes, "How much further? When are we getting back to the hotel? Because I really have to take a shit." What? My wife and I were like, what are you, what? You're our little angel, our youngest, our cotton ball princess. She was more offended that we were offended about her saying it than we were about her saying it. Well, that's what people do. I'm like, don't you dare, don't you say it.
My baby would say the same thing that your baby said. And my other two would laugh so hard. And my girls are so much nastier and talk about that kind of stuff than my boy would. My boy would never, but he's my oldest child, and Lord, I put so much on him. So much. Well, I expected him to be perfect, tell everybody he's perfect, bless his
Well, he
heart.
kind of is, right? He's the religious one?
Yes. They're all, have the Holy Spirit. But yes, he is the one that was just straight-laced and never gave us any trouble, or none of them have really given us any trouble. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's been a jewel. And then he's the one that's got my grandbaby. And
right.
Yeah, but I put a lot of expectations on him. But Tom, he in fifth grade was listening to Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard, and just was like from a different time. And he was just an unusual kid. Yeah. And he would, he was interested in gardening, and he cooks now for his family and loves canning food and putting up, like we call it in the South, putting up our vegetables and all that. And he loved outdoors and was just so an old soul, and had this sweet spirit. And then, so then that made me just even more, I thought, well, you're from heaven. I mean, you're absolutely from heaven. And he just never talked back or anything like that. But I know that I put a lot of expectations on him. But and his sisters are precious. But I remember taking him to a middle school party. Mm-hmm. And I was so excited. He got invited, and we were at a new school, and he walked out after it was over, and he goes, "I don't ever need to go back to something like this." He said, "You wouldn't believe what they were doing." And people were making out, and the parents were kind of racy, and they had like, I think they were those kind of people that left not a liquor cabinet open, but maybe let the beer, and that, letting little children drink alcohol, which is stupid. Anyway, he came out and he was like, I don't need to go back there. And so he always said stuff like that to me, and then I would just lift him even more up into unbelievable expectations. Bless his heart. Well, I need to pay for his therapy.
Some of your a funny part of your act when you used to say that he, but then when he fell in love, that you were his extended family. That that his wife was now his immediate family, and now even though you loved him so much and put him in such a great place, but now you were pushed aside. Is that still that way?
And he said, "Mom, that's biblical. I'm supposed to cling to my wife." And yes, and he does, and I get it now. But see, Tom, I mean, I'm okay. Like, I grieved over that, and now I'm okay because he's giving me a grandbaby. Like, right. I've got that grandbaby. I don't need anybody else,
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. And I love his wife. They live 20 minutes from us.
Oh, that's nice.
I know. So I get to see the baby and them all the time, and they need help,
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to do that because I've got one daughter who loves the East Coast and one who loves the West Coast. And I see my future. I'm trying to figure out how can I trap them into the same place so we're going to all be around each other. But I haven't figured it out yet.
I know. And Tom, I know that people probably think I've done this to my kids and that I'm selfish. It just happened that like one works at a hospital near us. One is a professional makeup artist, the baby. So she takes jobs and will go off to, a movie set, and then she'll come back and kind of, not dating anybody or anything. So she'll just keep her home base with us. And then my son lives down the road. And I know that, parents are probably looking at me like, you did this to them. It's just worked out that way. And let me tell you, I love it. And I had Charlie, my son's teacher in middle school, said she loved him. And she said, my boy is outdoorsy and wanted to go to Colorado to school from Tennessee. And she said, I let him, Leanne. And he married a girl that was from there. So then they moved to the Pacific Northwest. And she said, if I could give you any advice, have Charlie go somewhere in the South so that at least you get to be with your grandchildren. And that is something calculated that we did.
That's
and
what
terrible, but we did.
Yeah, no, that's smart. I the only advantage I could see is if I can keep them poor, then and then I could be like, oh, we picked up this little condominium down the road. If you could stay in there for free, it'd really help us out.
Yeah.
Once they get money, then
keep them down.
Yeah, keep them down. Exactly. Did we talk about the makeup artist last time? Because my daughter's wants to do that.
She does?
Yeah.
Okay. My baby child went to college, but then she came to us and said, I really always wanted to do this. And so we sent her to school in Manhattan in New York. And it's the same. There's another school. They have 2 or 3. Maybe one's in London and one's in LA. And she learned. We never thought she would like the special effects, but she loved it. And so she did that extended program, and she can make you bald and put a bullet hole in you and all that. So but she loves beauty. And I've raised these children on products and in the salon because I was always going to get my hair done, and I raised these girls to do that too. But she just wrapped her first major motion picture with Sony, and it's the George Foreman story.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah, and Forrest Whitaker was in it.
Whoa.
And so it was shot in New Orleans, so she did that. But she's trying to figure out now. She's 24. She's trying to figure out if she wants to do live television. There's so many things you can do in makeup.
Yeah.
Or go on tour with somebody out of Nashville, country music artist or something.
Right.
But she's looking for a man, Tom. She wants a man, and so the women in the makeup artist, the head makeup artist in New Orleans said, you can't find a man out here. Like, because if you're a makeup artist on movies, then you go to the next movie, and then you go to the next movie, and you're in a different town. You can't have a relationship really.
Mm-hmm.
So she said, this is something you need to do later in life. So she loved the whole movie business part of it, but she wants a man, honey. We like men. We dig men. We do. And we like to get up, rope in a man, and have a bunch of kids. We do. And she's looking for one.
Oh, good for her. Well, I'll have to ask you more about the school and stuff when we're done here. Because my daughter's, she's pretty determined. She's like, I don't know, but going to school and partying and just, I kind of want to go to work and go do this. But I felt the same thing. Like we need some continuing education for it. But yeah.
Well, and see, y'all are out there, y'all got the best. But I can tell you this, Tom, because I kind of fought her on it. I wanted her to finish her undergraduate, and my husband has hired thousands of people and over the years, and he said, I don't think that everybody, not college isn't for everybody. Yeah. And he said, I have got people that could run this company that graduated from high school, and if she wants to go in the trades or do whatever she wants to do, let her do that and get out and start working. He was behind it the whole time. And she's good. Yeah. And she loves it. She really does.
Oh, that's good. That makes me feel better. I was a little, because we do have in our mind, like, well, you should go to school. But the more people I talk to, very successful people, not a lot of them went. And because they were determined. If they had a purpose, if they had like an idea, they're not just going to flounder and, go in the basement and do bong hits.
Right.
When you were texting, you texted me the other day that you were going to text me because you were on the road and you got home and cooked for your family, something like that, right?
Yes, because you and I talked about how one of the best things for you is when you get off the plane on Sunday, you like to go to the grocery store and get what you're going to cook for your family. Yeah. And that's what I love doing. And so when I get home enough, now this weekend, I won't get home until like 7 or something, but, and the grandbaby will be already in the bed. Right. But I try to get groceries and go over to my son's house and see my baby. And then my baby that's the makeup artist and my son could be chefs. And I know everybody thinks their crow is the blackest and that their children are the smartest, but I'm telling you, both of them are foodies and they've got a garden going right now. Oh, nice. And then they put up a bunch of stuff in the garden, and then they planned their fall garden already for all their lettuces and
that's great.
All that. And so we go over there, and really I end up kissing that baby in the mouth, and they end up doing the cooking. But we like, they get in there and they like grow their own herbs and do all that. And so we like cook and all be together. And then my middle child will come. She's got a boyfriend and she, they're up each other's butts, but I want her to come over too. I'm like, I'm getting out of the airport and then we're going to be, and she goes, okay, I'll be over there. And so she's starting to bring him more around because I think they're getting a little serious, but,
how old is she?
She's 26 and she's the one that's in nonprofit and raises money for East Tennessee Children's Hospital. Oh. She worked for Make-A-Wish before them. Nice. And she raises a lot of money and is very young, and they think she's dynamic. Tom, I'll just tell you, she's dynamic, and I looked like her before I got beat down. I ate white flour and sugar and ate my emotions on the bathroom floor. I look like her in my body and everything. And I just live through her now. I just look at her and think, oh, because she's so cute, but she can talk to people and she's got a good personality. She connects with people. So people give her millions for Children's Hospital. She's very good at raising, but she loves these little children. And she used to volunteer for them when she was in high school. And then when her sorority, she worked with children going through chemo and that kind of thing. So to her, it's easy to say, we need a trauma unit for these little children. If they get in a car accident, I need $250,000, and people just give it to them.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so great. Yeah, I have a sister like that does nonprofit work, and it does make you feel a little worse about yourself. and how much you help people. But I always fall back on, well, I just fill the world with laughter.
You do, Tom Papa. You joyful, yummy thing. You really do. And I'm not blowing smoke up your butt. I told you in things we've done before that my husband and I saw you in San Antonio with Jerry Seinfeld. And we were just, I mean, I have loved you for years. And I would just think,
nice.
oh, if I could be like Tom, if I could be like Tom. I mean, you're so much joy.
Well, that's good because I'm not getting up early to help kids with trauma.
Well, and don't we have to remind ourselves, because we are out on the road, and I'm in this dark Hilton Garden Inn, which nothing against Hilton Garden Inn, I dig it, clean bed, but I do think, oh, and I got to get my luggage, and what if the luggage gets lost, and I got to get to this, and I got to get in an Uber or a rental car, and then I get to those shows, and I remember, oh my gosh, they come out here to see me.
Yeah, forget. I know.
And they are precious.
Yeah. Oh, you're so funny. You're so good. You have such a great control on stage. You just have this great pace. You're never pushing, which is sometimes you see comics and they will surprise you because they're going so quickly that you can't catch up to what they're doing. But why I know that you're so funny is because you go at a slower pace and you still surprise us. You still can't figure out where the joke is going to come. It really is.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, that means a lot, you angel. Because some, how we get in our own head, and I think, do I know what I'm doing? I mean, I've done this 22 years, and there were times in my career where I was so confident, and I could go up even if I hadn't worked in a while, and I could remember everything and do. And then now, the bigger this has happened for me, I'm almost less secure. Like I think, am I okay?
Yeah, it's weird. Why do you think that is? I have the same thing. I don't know. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, Tom. Is it because we are artists and we put our heart on our sleeve, and so I don't know, because you look at Jim Gaffigan. When I tell people all the time, I go, "Oh, I'm getting so old, and I'm the old one." And then I look at what other people's age is, and I think, you know what? I'm the same age as all these other people that have worked like dogs for years, and then it just comes together. Because Joe Coy, I looked up. Joe's 51, and I was listening to y'all talk to him about, and he was starting at 17 in Las Vegas, and my thyroid was off, Tom, and I thought during July, and I thought, I'm so tired. What is wrong with me? But I'd been going, and I told my team, I go, I need a break, or I'm gonna lose it. And they left me alone, and I took some time off. And then I was in Florida. My baby child talked me into going to Florida for 2 weeks, and it was just so hot, and I just didn't. I tried to exercise every day, and I didn't feel good. So I came back and I got my blood work done. Well, the guy that takes my blood is a huge comedy fan. And he will say, tell me where all he's been and all that while he takes my blood. And he said, I saw Joe Coy in Knoxville and at the Civic Auditorium. And he said he did crowd work for 80% of the time. And which I thought, oh my gosh. And he said to the first 3 rows. And then he said he would make over these people and then give them merchandise. He'd go, you need a sweatshirt or whatever. And like Oprah, and gave out and said, go to this person and get him. When you were talking about it, why was I talking about that? I don't even know what I was saying. But anyway, I think my thyroid is going to be okay. But my phlebotomist, I guess is what you call it, was sitting there talking about Chelsea, doing her special the next night after Joe did that. And then now they've broken up, and I'm devastated.
It's hard to take. It's really hard to get through.
That gave me something to look forward to. It really did. And I've met Chelsea. It was years ago, and she was darling to me, but I would stalk them kind of. And I would say, Chelsea, have a baby by Joe Coy. You probably still ovulating. She's thin. She takes care of herself. I go, have a baby by Joe Coy. Would that not be a darling baby? And then they broke up. And I had just been like devastated over that. But anyway, I don't know if Chelsea Handler is running the streets feeling like she can't do it. I don't know. Did Joe Coy say that he feels insecure at this point? But I do. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if you really care about it and you want to be as good as you can be, it's impossible not to have moments of doubt. Because especially when you've been doing it a long time, you know what great comedy is. And you know what is successful mediocre comedy. You can see people fooling people. And if you really want to be great, I think you kind of wake up every morning thinking, "Oh, I've got work to do. I'm not there yet." I think that's what keeps,
Yes.
right?
Yes, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, which is good. But I mean, and you do have to have these moments of like, okay, well, I may not feel really so confident, but there is a reason why the people are coming out to see me tonight and filling up this theater. I'm not terrible. I do.
Oh no, I go through that every day. You're
Yeah.
going through that too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. But I think it's because you just want to be as good as you possibly can be. And if you ever get to a point where you're like, I am as great as I wanted to be, then you're probably done. You're probably not going to be writing anymore. You're not going to be searching anymore. You still always have to have that thing we had when we were starting out, which was this kind of searching vulnerability. I don't think that goes away.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
I saw this great thing. I was looking at interviews with Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, because I never really heard him speak that much. And I was watching him in an interview yesterday, and he was saying, and this is something I really want to keep in mind, it was, I do this because I enjoy it. I do this because it's fun. He said, and I think that's what stops you from burning out. I mean, he ended up with a drug problem and is no longer here, but he said if you get into it because you want fame and money, you're going to burn out, because that's going to come and go, and it's something that you can't really control all that much. But what you can control, if you get into it because I love this and this is fun to do, and I just want to enjoy this and get as good as I can at it, then you won't burn out, because you have something you're always working towards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I thought when I got started, I remember thinking it's something that I have to do. It was a burning desire.
Right.
Like I know I'm going to do this, even if it took me. I knew it when I was, in high school, but I didn't start until I was 32. But even going and getting a degree and getting married and doing all the things I did,
yeah,
I knew in my heart I have something to say. Mm-hmm. I've got to do this. This is something that I'm meant to do.
Right.
And then I think I put so much pressure on myself because these people are so precious to me, Tom.
Yeah.
And my demographic, I truly believe nobody speaks to them. Mm-hmm. If they kind of ignore them, mm-hmm. middle-aged women. I think right. that, and so I think, and my team will say this, they'll say, your fans are probably not comedy fans. They've connected with you.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like Sebastian Maniscalco. They said, he's, if you watch comedy, you don't even know who Sebastian, a lot of people don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
when I think of people, comedy fans, they know Tom Pompa, Jim Gaffigan, Dave Attell, Bill Burr,
right.
Dave Chappelle, all that. The women that are coming to see me and their husbands do not know who those people, I think.
Yeah.
They're not, they haven't come up through Comedy Central. I've watched Comedy Central. I'm a comedy fan.
Right.
But that's why I try to, when I see something darling that you put out, I try to share it because I want people to know, because I really think that my audience, some of them, but most of them, do not even know who people are.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So I want to do the best I can for them because I know that they feel heard. I feel like I'm speaking for them.
Yeah.
And not in a, life-changing,
yeah.
I don't mean to sound so like it's so profound. I don't mean that, but just,
no, but you're speaking. Yeah, you're taking their experience and putting and making it funny, and they don't hear that often. They don't hear that. Yeah,
I feel like I'm representing them, and I So that even puts more pressure. I feel like I need to go home with every one of them, clean their house, put in a load of wash, start a casserole.
Now how will they feel when they hear, as we did, that Joe Coy and Chelsea Handler were getting together? How is your audience going to feel when they hear that you and I have left our families and run off together? Do you think they'll accept it, or do you think that they'll think that you've lost it?
I do a lot of material about Chuck, my husband, and they'll probably go, Leanne was so tired, and Chuck stayed after her all the time and grabbed her breast and while she was trying to fry a chicken, and they'll probably think, oh, Leanne's in menopause, she ain't doing nothing. But
yeah, those two are smoking cigarettes and watching Netflix.
what are you? Let me tell you that my husband and I've gotten it's just like this has brought this new thing in our life. We figured out. I had never even heard of. I'd heard of Better Call Saul, but
That's
I had
so
never
funny.
watched it.
Yes.
And we have got, it's like date night, and we get
Uh-huh.
so excited, for the next episode. And then last night when he called me, I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm watching Better Call Saul. And I said, okay, I'm getting in the bed and I'm going to watch it on my iPad. And so we can watch it at the same time. But we have just fallen in love with that. We love that.
That's so
series.
funny you say that, because that's the one we started watching it years ago, and then we lost our way, and now we know that it's going to sync up with Breaking Bad at the end of this season, and we're like, oh, we should get. But then I look at how many hours I have to go. It's like a full year I'd have to keep watching before I.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I guess
It's
that's
a
what
lot.
you got to do. And it literally is Better Call Saul, because it is so good.
Oh, so
Yeah.
good. And see, I tried to start Breaking Bad so many times, and then I don't know, I'd start watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills came out or something horrible.
Yeah.
And then, so I haven't seen that, and I think, oh, should I have watched Breaking Bad before I saw Better Call Saul, before I started that?
Oh God, yeah. And then now you just doubled up here. There's no way.
That's how our life is, though, Tom. Chuck and
Yeah.
I, we don't have a lot going on. We just want to see this baby, and then, my husband is works for a big company, and when this hit for me, I mean, he still doesn't understand what's happening. It took him a long time. I was like, I think we can get our toilets fixed, and he was like, what? We don't need to spend any money. So
No, I said this
still
last time. I said this last time when we were together, but I really want to. I have to talk to my agent about routing where I can get a show near you and Chuck, somewhere in that vicinity when you're not on the road. Like I need like a Tuesday night show, like 50 miles from where you live, so I can roll through and have a meal with you all before you go out on the road.
Oh, my darling, I would love that. Would you ever go to the Bijou or Tennessee Theater in Knoxville?
Yeah, I would do that.
Because the Bijou is about 700 seats. The Tennessee, that's what I've always worked.
Uh-huh.
And the Tennessee Theater is probably around 1,500 and stunning.
Really?
Absolutely stunning. We don't have a comedy club anymore, but I know you're doing theater. You have done theaters for years, but they are beautiful. You need to think about it.
All right, I'll put that.
And
on
I
the
know
list.
people.
Now, what do you?
That's the one place that would book me. Other times when I couldn't get arrested.
Right. All right. Before I let you go, you're on the road. Where are you now?
I'm in Davenport, Iowa, and then I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska tomorrow night. And then I've got probably, this was a 100-city tour with Outback Concerts, the
Wow.
Big Panty Tour. I'm probably on 70 something. So I've got 30 dates, for the
Wow.
rest of the year. And then I'm starting a new tour,
Oh, wow.
another 100 cities.
Jeez. You are just killing it.
Thank you, Tom.
It's so
I
great.
have to get IVs in my arms, but okay, that will start in March. And then you remember I told you that I was going to try to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have now. That has come to fruition. I'm writing a book, and we
All
hope
right.
that'll be out. in 2024.
Ooh, that's exciting. Do you have a
I
working
know
title?
you're the writer. You know, we're going around about it. We
Okay.
don't have one yet,
Okay.
but you know, it scares me to death. But I'm excited, and I feel like I've got. I mean, there's already been a proposal and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and it got bought. But I feel like my story's important because I want to not to get sappy, but I just think I want people to know it's never too late
Mm-hmm.
and to dream. You know, I'm a dreamer, and I start out in this crazy business, which I heard Bill Burr saying to Pauly Shore. A video came up on my Facebook of them, and Bill Burr said, "This business is a mother." You know, I can't. And I thought he's so right. It's so hard. It is
a
so
lot of
hard.
pressure. All right, so now you're touring people, and I'll say in the intro and give you lots of plugs and lots of things. But what are you going to do? You're at the Hilton, and you've got a show tonight. What is your food strategy? What will you eat? When will you eat?
Oh, Tom. Okay. Because I had a big breakfast,
Okay.
and I tried to get a lot of protein in there.
Okay.
Because I knew I was to be satiated. And then I'm going to get this big girdle on and go to the theater. And I'm trying to work out my food where it's not so bad, but I have a veggie tray, and I try to make sure that I've got like cauliflower and broccoli because I know that that's cancer fighting. And then I get there's a fruit tray that will have blueberries. And I'm really not a big fruit person, but I try to eat those antioxidants because I think, how am I going to keep doing this? And then they have a cheese tray for me. And I have that for my openers, and they love the cheese. And then I think I'm not going to eat that cheese. And then I eat the cheese. And there for a while, they were trying to do gluten-free crackers, and that went to the wayside. So I eat a sleeve of Ritz. And then there's a bottle of wine. And I say every night, I'm not going to open that bottle of wine. And then I open that bottle of wine, and I have a little sippy poo. And then they come in with menus. And they go, y'all want to order something? And I think, I'm not going to order anything. And then they go, oh, there's this great Italian place right down the road. And they got the best, carbonara or whatever. And then we end up doing that. And
after
I've
the
got
show?
to stop doing it.
Eating after the show?
Eating, but I'm really trying not to eat as heavy because I know that it makes me waller in a Hilton Garden Inn all night. If I've eaten a big gob of food,
I know.
Like a chicken piccata with an angel hair. I don't need to be wallering in that all night.
Well, the problem is you eat that, and then you eat after the show, and you wind down, and maybe you see the people, and then you eat, and then you're trying to go to sleep within an hour. It's really that's not a way to live. But it's so much fun. But that meal is so much fun.
It is. And I can't eat that big something before the show.
No.
And this is terrible for me to say because I know we're going to date, but I will belch into the microphone. I mean, I can't eat before a show.
I can't either. I have the same exact thing that you have backstage. I have the veggie plate. I've got the fruit plate. And in place of your cheese, I have chips, a big bowl of kettle chips. And I tell myself, and this is so stupid, the same as you did cheese, I'm not going to eat those chips. I'm not going to eat those chips. And then I eat all the chips. And you created the rider. You decided what was going to be there. It's like when you're in the supermarket, you're like, I'm going to eat well. But all of a sudden, well, how'd those Oreos get in there?
I was about to say Oreos. And my little darling girl that's with me on my tour, she'll say, you can change it anytime, Leanne, just let me know. Right. And it's like this whole mind thing.
Yeah.
For a while I had, and I think you and me and Fortune talked about this, I had Uncrustables.
Oh yeah.
And they would end up getting me these huge things of Uncrustables, and I try to give them out because I hate food waste. But I went to a nutritionist, and she said, if you just have little peanut butter on a whole wheat to give you just a little something, so you're not so hungry after a show and eat wrong after a show. Yeah. So in my mind, I hated for them to have a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, all that. So I said, what about an Uncrustable, low sugar? So then that turned into a whole thing. Oh my gosh, I could have eaten 10 of them. Have you ever had one of those?
Never.
Oh, they make you smack somebody. Unbelievable. So I had to get rid of those. So yeah, it's just a mind game every
Yeah,
night. What
I
I'm going to
know. Well, I'm glad I asked the question because I thought you would have it dialed in and I would learn from you, but I've learned nothing other than it's a struggle. And I'm dealing with the same thing.
do. I'm trying to hydrate better. I'm
Yeah.
really trying to do that and not drink. They have a Diet Coke for me there, but I thought, oh, if I drink that Diet Coke at 5:30 after a sound check, one, I'll burp in the microphone, and it would keep me up for 4 days. I mean, I would be like Breaking Bad mess. That's how it affects me now. But anyway.
Oh my God. Well, have a great show tonight. I
you.
can't wait to see you. Hopefully we'll be able to be in the same time zone at some point and see
Oh,
each other in person again. And I'll get my agent on the Knoxville run. I'll book that one.
oh, you would love it. It's beautiful, and people would love you. Oh, my darling.
All right. Well,
Okay.
love you. Take care of
I
yourself.
love you, Tom Papa. I love you. Thank you so much for having me. I've had a
All right.
ball.
Well, you'll be back more and more and more.
Okay. Thank
All right.
you.
Take care, Leanne.
Bye, my darling.
Bye. All right, that's our big show. I told you she's adorable. I told you she's hilarious. Leanne Morgan. I just love the way she talks. I could hear her talk. When she says that I am yummy, I start to float a little bit. You just need that kind of person in your life. It's obvious why people are filling up theaters to go spend time with her. She's so damn funny, and I hope we'll get to Knoxville and be able to spend some time with her and her family, even though I'm going to eventually steal her from her husband. Go to tompapa.com, look up all of my dates. We just announced, by the time this airs, it might be sold out, but October 1st, I am recording my new Netflix special at the Wilbur Theater in Boston. Tickets may still be available for the 9:45 show. Hopefully you can come and be a part of it. It's going to be, it was a date that we had already on the dates, and it lined up that we could actually do the recording of the Netflix special. If you can't get there, I'm doing a whole series of clubs. I've got Salt Lake City this weekend. I'm doing shows at Wise Guys. This is all in prep for the special. And then I'm going to Tempe, Arizona at the Improv. We added a show in Chicago. We have Honolulu. I wonder if we have any podcast listeners in Honolulu. So, big tour leading up to the recording of the special. And then we've got a bunch of shows after that. We're going to D.C. and Red Bank, New Jersey, and a whole bunch of great shows. So go to tompapa.com for all of that. All right. Thank you so much for listening. You guys are the best. We love doing this show for you. Thank you to Leanne Morgan. Thank you to Helix Sleep. We'll see you next time.